Hello, and today I'm going to be looking at the Emerald Park documentary, Nerves of Steel. It's a 4-part documentary series. Today I'm going to be looking at episode 1, so let's see what we can see.
In this series, we go behind the scenes to experience the thrills
Sorry guys, Dave, just stand back there.
and challenges that go into making Tayto Park one of Ireland's top visitor attractions.
I've never been to Emerald Park myself yet. Hopefully I'll get to go one day soon. I don't know too much about it, so I'm going to be learning a lot. So I'm going to be telling you what I'm learning as we go. Comment below if you see anything you want to comment about, and let's get started.
From its humble beginnings to its ambitious future.
The history of Tayto Park. I'm looking forward to if they discuss the changes. Also, I'm getting vibes of this is how the Wicker Man documentary, if you can call it that, on Channel 4 many years ago, should have been done. This looks like it's got a much more professional sheen to it.
We'll follow the people that make this place tick as they bid farewell to old friends.
It looks like we are going to see how it's transformed from Tayto Park to Emerald Park.
Oh yes, you have concrete, is it?
And roll out big plans for the park's most daring expansion, featuring 2 new major roller coasters.
Oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to see how the land of Tir Na Nog was constructed and the rides in it, including the 2 roller coasters. Looking forward to this. It's only just opened this past week.
Think of something witty to say.
With over €20 million on the line.
At the time of recording this, €20 million is around £17 million. So that's still quite a lot of money. But when you hear the thing, Wicker Man cost 18 million. So if they're getting a whole land, but £17 million, you just think, why are Alton Towers paying a lot more just for one coaster? But we're going to see. We're going to see.
Managing a theme park is not for the faint of heart.
I mean, it could be a bad year. It mightn't be a year for building roller coasters. You don't know.
Nerves of Steel. I actually quite like that logo as well. It's quite well done.
Since the park opened its doors in November 2010, over 5 million of us, both families and thrill seekers alike, have crossed its threshold for adrenaline-filled adventure and white-knuckle rides.
The shots of Cú Chulainn and how it kind of dwarfs the park look really awesome, but also the other rides they've got there are quite decent flat rides as well.
Ironically built on an old potato farm, it is, to this day, Ireland's only theme park. It was the vision of local Meath man Ray Coyle.
I graduated there from Oxford University, a doctorate in communications. Did you believe that?
I do really like the Irish. They're so down to earth with sense of humour. I do love it.
What you're going to do is decide how you're going to make your mark, what are you going to go into, how you going.
I do love the Ladybird design on those roller coaster cars. It's a really nice little detail that seems to just fit the shape of them.
A lot of people bring their children over to Disney and into England to the theme parks. So there was a pent-up demand for it.
With that demand in Ireland, I am surprised it's the only theme park in the Republic of Ireland. There must be a market to build more, surely.
I suppose the plan at present is to start breaking ground in May, June.
It is nice to get a sneak peek into these meetings behind the scenes, but also I like the fact that it's just kept in the family. I think that's a lovely thing.
My son, Charles, he's here now about 7 or 8 years. He's the manager of the place. He likes it. No doubt about it, he likes it. This is very, very important. That it's done right.
Yeah. People won't really notice or appreciate the Celtic art on the seat because people will be just so excited to get on the ride.
What do you think at home? Do you think they're right in the way that they shouldn't worry too much about theming the seats or maybe even the inside of the trains and the cars because people, especially with the new ride, are going to be so excited they're just going to go on it? Is that a wasted cost? What do you think? Tell me in the comments.
Really elaborate ones like this, it's going to look very impressive aside from being a very exciting ride.
I like that look from Ray where he's sort of proud and he's smiling that his son's coming out with these ideas, and he's obviously seen him grow in this position throughout the last 7 to 8 years. It's just nice little touch there to see that on his face.
To where he is today. As a successful entrepreneur.
Shout out to Ginger and Brown. I actually saw a POV for that. The first one I ever saw on that water ride was from their channel, so go check them out. I'll put that in the description.
He also, quite ironically, owes his start in business to Tayto Crisp's main ingredient.
This is nice. We're going to see how it's originated as Tayto Park before the name change. I like a little bit of history here. This is quite nice.
The Irish have had a love of potatoes for centuries, usually eating them boiled to within an inch of their lives. But the crazy idea of slicing and frying this root vegetable has its origins in the USA.
That is one hell of a rocking chair. Look at the structure on that.
Potato chip or crisp became a popular snack worldwide. They were sold plain and unflavoured. In early 20th century Ireland, all crisps were imported, as there were no manufacturers.
The way they talk about all of them were imported, the crisps, I'm getting the idea that there's probably a market for a lot of things in Ireland that they don't currently have in Ireland. Because obviously at the start they said about theme parks and there's demand for that. Tayto Park, now Emerald Park, is the only one in the Republic of Ireland. I just wonder how many other markets there are that are untapped where they want it, but it's not there. And if you build it there, then you're going to make a lot of money.
But all that changed when snack food visionary Joe Spud Murphy.
Is that his real middle name, do you reckon?
Joe Spud Murphy opened his little Tayto factory off Dublin's Moore Street in 1954. In what was, without doubt, the most important culinary advancement of the 20th century, he began adding flavouring to the crisps during the manufacturing process. Tayto Cheese and Onion was born.
What's your favourite flavour of crisp? Do you like cheese and onion? The first flavour since plain? What's your favourite? I think mine's probably prawn cocktail.
Needless to say, the 60s and 70s saw large-scale expansion for Tayto, and more potatoes were needed to meet the increasing demand for their crisps.
It's interesting, however brief, to see actually some of, especially the old style, making these crisps or potato chips, just seeing how it was back then, because it's obviously maybe changed a lot since then.
That is where Ray Coyle enters the story.
My father and the family are from here for generations, across the road. And I went to the States for a year or so and messed around over there when I was 19 or 20.
It's just the way his personality kind of shines through and the way his terms of phrase and things like that. I think this guy can just tell a story and it's just, you want to listen. Like when he went off to America when he was 19 and mucked about over there for a bit. But it's nice to see how he's got a head for business and how this all, because this did not start as a theme park till later down the line. So it's nice to see all this.
Then came back, started growing some potatoes. Fortunately, I made an enormous amount of money in them. So eventually, after 3 years, I lost a lot.
Ray, is it worth your while harvesting potatoes at the moment?
It's quite interesting to see Ray as a young man as well.
The land, and second of all, you got to recoup part of your expenses.
Somebody said that actually it should be a half-naked parish priest who should be doing this, but
Ray managed to entice 4,000 people to part with a hefty £300 each for a golden ticket.
Oh, that Irish sense of humour. But it's quite an interesting idea to raffle it off because you need to make that money back. But I don't know how you get 1.2 million owing to the bank. But I'm sure he's, his style and profile and he's a big businessman, I guess.
And the raffle, held at a packed Goffs in County Kildare, was hosted by housewife heartbreaker Mike Murphy.
That was also a stroke of genius having Mike Murphy at the time present that raffle because well-known name in Ireland, well-known name in entertainment as well as some other fields. That has got to be the biggest live, non-online raffle I have ever seen. Standing room only.
Ray, are you sorry to be losing the farm?
Of course, yeah, I am sorry, but very happy that the lottery has worked. Sure, everybody is, particularly the bank.
Ray's cheeky smile at the end there. Just had to say at this point, I've seen pictures of this park before, but Emerald Park looks phenomenal from the air. As I say, you've got Cuchulainn and you've got those flat rides that are such a great choice of flat rides.
Since Tayto Park opened its doors in 2010, it's been a popular attraction for people from near and far.
There are those ladybirds again. That is such a good idea for that shape of coaster car.
Contrary to popular belief, Tayto Crisps do not own the theme park.
Oh, the frog. That's such a good idea to have frogs as the animals for the... Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Theme park.
And just look at the face on that frog. That's the face of a frog who's seen some things.
Tayto Crisps do not own the theme park. A sponsorship agreement was set up and, for an undisclosed fee, Tayto got exclusive naming rights for the park. It all made perfect sense.
Oh, that's quite interesting. I never knew that Tayto didn't actually own the parks. As far as I'm aware, it's built next to the factory. I just always assumed the owner was a bit of a business tycoon and thought, I've got this land here. But that's quite interesting that Tayto have just got sponsorship. Also, look at the size of those hands. Potatoes have massive hands. But they are very smartly dressed.
In his travels, he had seen like Hershey Park, Guinness Storehouse, Butler's factory tour.
I've not heard of Guinness Storehouse, so I'll have to look into that.
That's all about to change. After 12 years in business, the park is about to bid a fond farewell to Mr. Tayto.
That is a shame because I do like the Tayto branding and they've got the mascot, but it'd be interesting to see where they go from here. Obviously, we know it's going to be Emerald Park, but let's see how they get to that.
Okay, guys, I want 6 to 8 names.
That has to be the weirdest, but also the best thing to put on something that you're potentially going to brainstorm on. Anything goes. Bit like the West Side Story. Anything goes.
I want 6 to 8 names. Anything goes.
Next year is a huge year for the park. We are rebranding, a new name for Tayto Park.
Excitomania.
Put in the comments, what would you have called the park? And is Excitomania a name that would have caught on? Tell me.
We wanted everyone to be involved, and I suppose that's what Tayto Park is about. We're a team.
What about Helen?
Emerald Garden, Emerald
Kingdom.
Emerald Kingdom.
Listen, we had an amazing journey with Tayto, but we have evolved so quickly, and we've got new plans in the next couple of years. We're spending up to 30 million, which is huge for us. We've new roller coasters. We're looking at that international market.
Dream World.
Dreamworld, as you may know, is already in Australia. The sort of pseudo knockoff of Disney World, which actually was created after the owner had gone to Disneyland, but that's a different story for a different time. But Dreamworld already exists.
Now, what we'll be able to call it, I don't know what it's going to be yet.
But we know, Ray. But we know.
Saying goodbye to Mr. Tayto, it's not easy. We love him.
It is a bit sad to see Tayto go, but it's better to have your own identity than, because Tayto don't actually own the park. But it's going to be sad not to see Mr. Tayto there anymore.
Nothing's changing really. It's just we're going to have to develop a whole new brand look for the park.
I wish we didn't have to do this, but economically, it is the best decision.
Saying goodbye to the Tayto name is a difficult thing for Ray to do. His legacy and Tayto's are so closely intertwined. After raffling his farm in the early 80s, Ray paid off his debts and had just the right amount of cash and dreams to make his own mark in the snack food business.
I built the factory over there, very small, only 6 people in it.
We got a contract, I think, originally with Superquinn doing own label crisps, bought the Perry name of the Capaldi family.
Bit by bit, built the business up.
On one of his trips to trade shows, he came across crinkle cut crisps, which became Hunky Dories.
That is such a good name for a crisp, Hunky Dories.
Hunky Dory was our own brand. We invented that.
I also like the bite out of the logo for Largo Foods. Hopefully that's intentional.
Ray had built Largo Foods into one of Ireland's most successful snack food businesses. He now had enough clout and capital under his belt to buy out the competition and claim his throne as Ireland's snack food king.
B&C were outsourcing the Tayto crisps. They wanted to get out of the snack food business. Something like 80% of their revenue, 90% of the revenue was from drinks. So we tendered for the business for Tayto. So we did that in Ashburn. Then they just put the business up for sale. And at that point, after installing all that machinery, it was an absolute imperative that we get the business.
It was at a time when the banks were lending money for all sport. I mean, they were just throwing it out. And they met the right person. I took all I could get off them and paid 68 million for Tayto.
68 million, that's just chump change.
When the Coyle family eventually got their hands on Tayto, one of their first tasks was to take on a new overseas competitor, Walkers, who'd been nibbling away at Tayto's market share.
I have seen some shops, not many, sell Tayto crisps, but they're never going to take on Walkers, even if you don't count Lay's, which is abroad. For anyone who's not in UK, you call them Lay's, but I don't think you can compete with Walkers on any kind of scale, but it's nice to see Tayto doing well and the company being built up.
At the time, we were probably selling a bag of crisps for about 45, 50 cent, and they came in with 20 cent. They were losing money hand over fist, but they carved out a market share. And they used Roy Keane as well as their spokesperson.
But Largo Foods had their own mega icon who could easily match the might of Roy Keane. It was just a matter of bringing him to life. And no better man than Ray Coyle.
The look on his face, he looks ever so slightly like an overweight version of Bert from Bert and Ernie, doesn't he?
He told me he was looking for the love of his life. Where are you getting all the movie stars in here? But he is number one. He is the chief.
I don't know why, when he tried on that big hat, it reminded me of the Pharrell Williams video for Happy. He's wearing a big hat in that, isn't he? Just reminded me of that.
The incredible story of one man's journey.
That was sort of Game of Thrones for a minute there, where it looked like the land, and it was turning up. It just looked like Game of Thrones, didn't it?
From the
Along with the commercials, there were guerrilla marketing campaigns and even book launches.
The story of the man inside the jacket.
That, I did not know that book existed, but also apparently according to reviews on Amazon, it's a decent book, but it's based on the Irish Tayto, just in case anyone thinks it's based on the Northern Ireland Tayto. They're different things. That's a story. There's so many things in here that are a story for another time, I'll tell you, but let's carry on watching.
Mr. Tayto! Welcome, Mr. Tayto!
The text is very good in the book. It's crisp and concise storytelling.
Totes. Jokes.
Mr. Tayto's campaign had worked a treat. Tayto's market share was in rude health, but the same could not be said for the Irish economy.
We had borrowed from some banks and they started calling in the loans because they needed the money, and we weren't able to service the debt.
The interest rates went from 3 or 4 or 5% to 14%. And it was a real stretch to pay the interest. So eventually, I hooked up with Instastack.
Intersnack are the biggest company in Europe for crisps. I mean, do they do Chio, chips, Palm Bears, those kind of things? They purchased a percentage of the company with the right every 4 or 5 years to purchase some more.
And at that stage, I started to build 12 years ago, this place.
Again, it looks so pristine, especially from the air. I've not visited personally myself yet, but just the greenery alone as well, running down the sides of that road alongside the Cuchulainn. It's just amazing.
Having originally resembled a kids' adventure centre, Tayto Park has gone from strength to strength. It's grown to accommodate 18 major attractions, including 4 roller coasters with 2 more on the way.
6 creds now for anyone who wants the new creds who hasn't been yet. 6 creds and a load of amazing flat rides by the looks of it as well.
First thing we have on the list is the FK Lowry pile design process.
Do you think they said to them all, we're going to be filming a bit of this just for a bit of footage for the documentary? And Charles Cole just went, no way, I'm not going to be on screen for that.
We'll be responding to those emails that they have sent.
As a serious capital investment, it is expected to cost over €20 million. Aside from the designers and construction workers needed to build this ambitious new expansion, General Manager Charles and Project Manager David...
The penny's dropped. That probably is Charles, isn't it? So we're going to... Yeah, that's probably right, yeah.
...have drafted in a team of engineers to make sure that Project 24 is safely completed on time.
We've invested everything we ever made into expanding the park and put new rides in and generally trying to lift the business. So hence the investment into new capital.
And look, I suppose if we can just put up the mix of the model now, we have to...
It's amazing not just seeing how these 2 coasters are going to interact and duel, but just to see how much goes into the planning and to see these plans before it's built and see these blueprints and things like that. It's amazing to see. It's amazing. It's just worth watching just for that.
Look, I suppose if we can just put up the mix of the model now, we have the coaster and the Eurovision model here.
I thought he said Eurovision, but he might have said Your Vision. So take that as you will, but I think he said Your Vision, which is like an events company.
Eurovision model here throughout the building. So look, based on our conversation a couple of weeks ago, we're going to fall onto this area here.
But it was always a matter of taking a risk. The development we're doing now at the moment is risk. I mean, if I had someone to give me a contract to get 100,000 people extra in, I'd be very happy. But no.
The breathtaking growth of the park since its conception is quite unbelievable. But back in 2010, Ray Coyle's dream of opening Ireland's first theme park and zoo almost never happened.
People thought he was mad, and why are you building this here in the middle of a recession?
So we learned that Ray started building the park during a recession and the banks cut off his funding partway through.
We had funding arranged to build a park and the banks pulled the funding, and so we ended up with the kind of half park, half built. We had a business in the Czech Republic and we sold that.
We then learned that they sold some businesses they had in the Czech Republic, which is quite interesting. A little bit of information that we probably don't know.
A business in the Czech Republic and we sold that. We used that money to finish the park.
We opened it. I missed many days.
There is no way Mr. Tayto fit through that slide with that suit on. No way.
Many dates that we were supposed to hit, and finally got it open 21st of November 2010.
It was opening at the wrong time of the year, and nobody came. And I said, this is gone.
He was kind of thinking like, Jesus, I've made some serious miscalculation. I wonder, can I turn it into a nursing home? Because he was like, what am I going to do with this?
Following a new severe weather alert from Met Éireann, warning of heavy snow over Leinster and Munster.
To compound their troubles, a heavy snow arrived as Ireland slipped into its toughest winter for 30 years.
That looked painful. He just got... There's no one going to help him. They're filming this on the news. No one's going to help him.
toughest winter for 30 years.
So a brief summary, they opened in November of 2010 and then they had the worst winter they'd seen in years in Ireland, so it's not looking very good for Ray.
There were a lot of people who thought that it would not work at all, and there was even supposedly in one of the banks, there were actually people in there who were taking bets on how long it would last.
But we kept it open, and at Easter, when the kids got their holidays, people flew in.
It's nice to see that they managed to keep it open until Easter of the following year and then just blew up and people were happy to go to the only theme park in Ireland. I mean, it's nice to see the story. I mean, we know where the story ends, but it's nice to see it go from that bad start to suddenly turning the needle the other way.
The summer was hugely successful and we had to find our feet and all the rest and made a lot of mistakes, but it worked, you know.
The theme park's popularity has grown year on year, and management are hoping that the 2 new roller coasters will attract even larger crowds in the coming years. This afternoon, Charles and David are meeting with the theme park specialist Joravision.
Okay, so it was Joravision, Jora. So that's who it was, and it looks like they're going to show them designs for the cars they want to use on one of the roller coasters in the new Tir Na Nog section of the park being built.
See the latest designs for the rides.
Yes, so here we have the trains of the family boomerang coaster.
Brilliant.
Maybe we can jump directly to the suspended thrill coaster, which is based actually on the concept of imaginary armament.
It looks really good, nice metallic colours.
Again, loving the blueprints and them going through the details. This is great for any enthusiast to watch.
So we start with a big drop, going down, shooting here through a sort of trench with a lot of arches.
Yeah, I think in those sections we'll probably bring the landscaping right up as close as we can. That'll hopefully create 1 or 2 more near misses and make you feel faster as well, I would imagine.
Originally, Dad wanted another wooden coaster, which I was opposed, and to this day I'll never figure out how I managed to convince him onto steel coasters.
Then we have a big turn, big bend.
I think it was the only argument that I won.
One of the most exciting parts is, of course, the double fly-through through the building of the family boomerang station. So here first, the visitors will pass the roof section. The track is under, but since it's a suspended coaster, this moment you're upside down.
So I'll do full inversions, turn you down, up, go straight up in the air.
Here you break in through the back facade and exiting with great speed.
That bit where it goes over the station is quite cool, where it comes back round and through the top of the station building. That is awesome.
It's more exciting. That's what I think, anyhow.
This is the tight curve really close to the entrance, and their feet will almost be touching the tower on this side.
Last year, he said to me, which is his own way of admitting you were right, that I'm glad we decided to go with steel coasters in the end. I was like, so am I, yeah.
However, you can't get everything your own way. The engineers have concerns about the height of the main tower on the boomerang coaster and have suggested building a shorter one or altering its design.
We quickly made a suggestion, similar height, but easier to execute.
Although it's a problem, I don't see the downfall in having it made look like it's crumbling a bit, like it's aged, and it just add to it, I think, it'll look weathered, which it just showed there when they were transitioning it. I think if they have to have it so they can fit the ride in, I don't see that being a problem.
I like the arch as you enter the tower section.
I have to say, I prefer the original round tower. However, when you start lowering it, it would be all out of proportion.
I'd kind of be of the same opinion as Charles, but it could be a case of, in order to keep the height on it, that we go with this option instead.
You still, from a distance, have a highlight and we hope an interesting silhouette of a tower shape.
The plan is to build Project 24 on this new site, next door to the popular Cuchulainn roller coaster. It's a massive financial risk. But Ray Coyle feels that with these new roller coasters, Tayto Park can attract an extra 100,000 visitors every year, making the investment worthwhile.
It'll take 1.5 to 2 years to build the 2 of them. I mean, there's no guarantee. I mean, spending the money we're spending now at the moment on doing this, there's no guarantee that that's going to work. But I feel it will. No, you get a feeling.
Next time on Nerves of Steel.
Oh, next week we're going to see them pick the new name. We're going to see some of the building groundwork going in. This definitely looks interesting.
It's like you're starting with a whole new park. The new name is Emerald Park.
I think it's going to be great.
Little Miss Rapper says, I'm liking the name, thumbs up. Someone else says, I hope the ghost of Mr. Tayto haunts Emerald Park forever.
Oh, first rule of social media, never read the comments. I like the reference to Pokemon Emerald version there because it's Emerald Park. That was pretty cool. Someone put that on the social media comments.
Someone else says, I hope the ghost of Mr. Tayto haunts Emerald Park forever.
Okay, great.
That comment was so well timed. I hope the ghost of Mr. Tayto haunts Emerald Park forever. All right. Okay, that's not a good Irish accent, but I thought that was hilarious.
Someone else says, I hope the ghost of Mr. Tayto haunts Emerald Park forever.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right.
And that was episode 1 of Nerves of Steel, the documentary about how Emerald Park not just started, but they're going on to building the 2 coasters and the land of Tir Na Nog, which, funnily enough, opened this week. So if you click here, I'm going to try and put the playlist, or at least episode 2, if you're watching this in the future. But also, if you want to see my top 5 tips for if you're going to visit Flamingoland, which is nowhere near Ireland, but if you're going to visit it, you want to know these 5 things, so watch that. But also, if you like the video, like it. If you want to subscribe and ring that bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling, it'll help you keep notified. And I'll see you in the next one. But for now, I'll see you in the rear view, because for now, I'm gone.